Thank you so much for coming out today. My name is Judy Harvey, and I'm a registered nurse, and I'm also the hospice bed coordinator at the Nippigan Hospital. And I'm here today to ask you a few questions. And mainly it's about people who are approaching end of life and what takes place when a Ojibwe patient is approaching end of life, and what are the cultural practices when this occurs?
Everyone has their own way of going, right, to approach death. In this community and our culture, in my time on Mother Earth, I've seen many ways of people practicing how they end their death. I could speak only for my sister and my brother, but I've seen other deaths. Some of the men were getting fire, right? Preparing a fire outside her house, you know, building a sacred fire. And they were lighting it. And they were contacting certain guys from the next reserve to come and light that fire and do a ceremony for her at that. Those fires had to stay alive, burning for 4 days. I want her to travel to the spirit world. So they said, who do we get?
My name is Linda Goodchild. I'm originally from Seine River. It's very, very different from, just say, the Catholic way. For 4 nights and 4 mornings, somebody goes over there in the morning to make a little fire and bring a little bit of food. And then same thing in the evening time. The same thing, you just grab a little branch or something off of a tree, a little birch bark, make a little fire, and you put a little bit of food in there. That's for 4 days and 4 nights. That's to help them on their journey.
There's 2 kinds of deaths. One that you watch, a dying person. The second death is somebody that dies instantly, not knowing when it takes place. My name is Roger Nakanagas. I'm an Ojibwe, and I'm also a Christian. I go to church, and when my wife passed away of bone cancer, she suffered for 7 years. And after she died, we call it, I guess, the white man ways. We go and get the priest to do the blessing when we bury her at the graveyard.
And when my partner and I, we're both different lifestyles. Kind of, she has Catholic ways, and myself, I have native traditional ways. And some of us don't have any beliefs. Like some indigenous people here, they don't have any beliefs, and some people are traditional. Some people are Christian, and we don't all agree on the same thing. A lot of our traditions have been taken away, so we don't know what to do. Most times we are confused, and we don't have an answer. What are we going to do?
As the Indigenous spiritual care provider here at the hospital, I was actually hired because of my knowledge and background. As an Indigenous person, and as a spiritual care practitioner, because I'm a little bit younger, but I like to. I don't call myself an elder yet, but I like to share what I do know, and I've been doing this for 30 years. I've become aware of over 150 different cultural practices just within the Ojibwe culture. And so being able to have that skill, and at the time of being hired here at the hospital, to apply it. Indigenous culture, as we unravel it, we realize how vast it is, how big it is, and how diverse and how unique each community can be in some sense. So, so having some knowledge that different cultural practices will apply to different families based on where they come from, their communities that they're at. Some families will prefer their own elder to come, be it a family elder or a community elder, and some families will prefer just to reach out to the hospital, whatever we can offer for resources.
So we all sat down, and the doctor came in, and I said, We need drumming here. We need an elder here. We need smudging here for my sister. Not everyone practices this way. Some people has different other methods, other ways to do it, but us at that time, we choose to practice that way.
Some of the traditions, like I said, I believe it depends on who's the family, who their beliefs are, the clan systems. My father, I brought home because he wanted to come home. That's where he wanted to pass away. And so me being the oldest, I was the only one there most of the time with him. And it was hard because I did smudging. I'd helped him through as much as I could what he wanted, what his life was like. There was a lot going on in there for those 4 days with him.
The doctor explained to us, there's no hope of recovery for your sister, Dave Chikwa. She's just living on life machines now. So everyone's crying and everyone was releasing the healing tears, you know. And we contacted the elder, we gave her some tobacco, we contacted some drummers, and people came to that hospital.
My granddaughter was in ICU with that accident that happened. She was on her deathbed. And when the doctor told me, you better come into the room, he said something is going on with her. So my son and I and my grandson went over there. And she told us, trying to tell us something was going on. She said, they're here. I asked my girl, I said, who's here? He said, they're here. My dad's here, or her dad passed away like 3.5 years ago. And my mom is with him. And she said, they're here too, the mother and the child. And Jesus is with them. And she said to me that I can still remember, she said, God gave permission to Jesus to come there. The monitor started to beep again, it went up. She was coming back to us. And this is what I experienced in the death of my family, my wife and my daughter. I guess what I can safely say is that we had a moment of presence of heaven being there. Heaven has no time, and we experienced that. And we moved on from there, and we were healed. And now, yes, I do feel lonely for my daughter and my wife, but the pain was taken away from us. And I don't know what God's plan is, but it is His plan. And that's the way we look at it as Ojibwe people.
We sang songs. We ate food. On the coffin, we made little birch baskets, right? And we put on traveling equipment for her journey. After she was ready to go to the graveyard, we had to have a feast. We had to have her last feast on this earth. That's what we did with my sister. So we had blueberries and strawberries handed out to all the people at that hall at that time, you know?
I think being open to patience and understanding of where a patient may be in their knowledge in spirituality and religion, and being able to journey with them at their level. And I think having that patience to go with them and to share with them and to show them this is how the Indigenous culture works and this is how it can be applied to your life. And to have a patient actually see them grow and see them actually heal and get better, then it's that much more exciting to see. I've actually got a success story from a woman who was a residential school survivor. So she was taught the Christian way, and she was taught that the native traditions were evil. And she was a mental health patient for a long time, and the doctors thought she was going to be here for forever. But she came to me, and through patience and understanding and allowing her to move at her pace, and eventually watching the ceremonies that we do, sitting in on the ceremonies, and then eventually incorporating her into the ceremony and participating in the smudge and the sharing, she actually learned to appreciate the culture.